Everyone's looking for who the next gimmick that's going to be brought into WWE is going to be. Today there was a story put up about Diamond Dallas Page considering a WWE return if it was going to be to feud with Randy Orton. Randy Orton is probably the most favorite wrestler of most wrestlers in the business today. Just today I was listening to Talkin' Shop and heard MVP, Luke Gallows, and Machine Gun Carl Anderson all talk about how awesome Randy Orton is, how this guy basically feels around the ring, the way he looks, the way he moves, the way he reacts to the crowd. Everything about this guy is one of the favorites of most wrestlers. To me, I have my high points with Randy Orton. I think after going to that house show, about a month, maybe 2 months ago, I was on a real high with Randy Orton, but it sort of lasted a while, and it seems like even when I watch his matches, they always sort of seem the same, and it is what it is. But Diamond Dallas Page has talked about Randy Orton in a lot of interviews, saying that basically he wishes that he could have a match against Randy Orton. And I guess in this interview, Diamond Dallas Page is saying that if he was going to come back, it would only be to have a match with Randy Orton. I know that Diamond Dallas Page has told some stories about basically a little bit of a Twitter feud between him and Randy Orton, which he didn't really like to throw a lot of gasoline on. He was just waiting for the right time to be able to talk to Randy and try to be able to put this out, basically talking about who has the best diamond cutter slash RKO, with both moves basically being the same. And that is what I think the basis of the feud that Diamond Dallas Page is looking for, is trying to see who does the move better, who's going to be able to use it, who would be able to make it go. Honestly, when you think about this match, I think there's no way in the world that this match is going to happen. Diamond Dallas Page, even though with all the yoga and DDP yoga and everything like that this guy does, I don't think there's any way in the world that he's going to be climbing back into the ring. This guy, at 59, we just saw Sting at 56, wrestle Seth Rollins at Night of Champions, and he just has some sort of an injury. They never really figured it out, if it was his neck, if it was his back. One thing led to another. Sting got sent home. He got told he was going to be working Monday Night Raw, delivering some sort of a promo, and they just basically said, no more. We'll probably never see Sting wrestle again, and honestly, we'll probably never see Diamond Dallas Page wrestle ever again. 10 years ago is when he finally hung it up from WWE. Of course, when he was wrestling for WWE shortly after WrestleMania 18 is when he was injured, wrestling in a series of matches against Christian, and he basically just said, no more. He rehabbed all he could. He came back with his name value, trying to help TNA. They had a lighter schedule. He thought it was going to work better. And, after losing at Destination X to Jeff Jarrett, when Monty Brown turned heel, Diamond Dallas Page left TNA, and that ended up being his retirement from, professional wrestling. I don't even really know how you would set up a feud between DDP and Randy Orton, if it's just going to be, DDP comes to Monday Night Raw, and he leads everyone in a live yoga session right there in the middle of the ring, and he's cheesy and corny, and he's trying to hype it up as much as he could, like he was with his Powers of Positivity gimmick with the big smile back in the day, and then Randy Orton comes out to save us all with the Legend Killer gimmick and hits the RKO on DDP, which leads to them getting a match. Honestly, Diamond Dallas Page is the name that's been around, since the WCW versus NWO days. Even at that point, DDP was older. He really didn't start wrestling until his older, 30s age. He was like 39 when he debuted for WCW, and he, rode the ranks all the way to the top, being one of the best champions they have, and, especially being used on the WCW Best of Nitros, Volume 1, 2, and 3. He is one of the most thought after, when you think WCW, DDP is one of the guys that you always think of, but I don't think there's any way in the world. I think he's just talking to talk with an interview. There's no way in the world DDP's coming back to wrestling and is wrestling against Randy Orton.